So in 5 months, I went from obese to a normal weight.
In the 30 days, how much weight did you end up losing?
I lost about 22 pounds. My mobility had been affected due to my weight. So I was using a walking stick. I was going to do an operation to cut my neck open and remove my thyroid. You've already removed my tonsils. Every organ in our body is there for a purpose. Why are you removing it?
Hi, I'm Chris James, and you're watching A Healthy Alternative. Today we have a guest from over the pond. Sarah from the UK is here to join us and share a little bit about her journey. And if you are interested in hearing everything, stay tuned. That's coming up next. All right, Sarah. So I am excited to spend a little bit of time with you today. Thank you for joining me.
You're welcome. You're welcome, Chris.
So you had mentioned to me before that you've been following the channel for a little bit. How long have you been following A Healthy Alternative?
Oh my gosh. Oh, it's been long. I don't know if I've watched almost every interview and just been absorbing, from you. And I think your brother, is it Stephen? Sorry.
Stephen,
You
yeah.
have, yeah, so as well, I've been following his journey like really closely as well. It's just been helped to inspire me on my own journey, like watching your content as well. So yeah.
Listen, that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Stephen's has been a major player in helping to inspire a lot of people. And
Yeah. Yeah.
it's amazing. I think we did a retreat. Well, we've done a couple of retreats, but the first retreat, I asked people, I was like, how many people are here because they saw Steven's video, like his original video, which I think we shot back in February of 2017, maybe.
Okay.
And it was probably like a third of the people there were there because they saw Steven's video. So I just thought that was incredible.
Wow.
Yeah. Steven is definitely a beacon, and the thing that I love about him is no matter what it is he's going through, he's always willing to share it. I mean, he shared some
Yes.
pretty, wild stuff that he's gone through. So people resonate with that. I always like to kind of start our interviews by giving a brief overview of what some of the difficulties are that you were able to overcome, so that we can give people a reason to watch the interview. So if you want to maybe briefly share, what were some of the issues that you were dealing with that you were able to address?
Yeah, so the first thing I was diagnosed was with hyperthyroidism. So when I went to see the doctor, he explained something. He said that most women that are diagnosed with hyperthyroidism, he's noticed is after a stressful or traumatic event. And I got diagnosed with the hyperthyroidism that was after my mum tragically died. She died of pancreatic cancer, and she died of blood poisoning. And I actually watched her die. So it was very, very traumatic event. And that's at that point, my health seriously declined. But I've been able to overcome hyperthyroidism, and I've done that naturally. I refused to I was going to do an operation to cut my neck open, but I don't know. I believe it was, I'm a believer of faith that it just something like I just changed my mind to not go ahead, and I went the natural route using herbs. And when I went for the test, it was reversed. My hyperthyroidism was healed basically through diet and lifestyle changes. Obviously, I've been able to overcome obesity. I was obese, and that was based on my BMI. I don't know, is that what you call in the US? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So based on my BMI, my height, I was obese. So now I'm in a normal weight range now. I also had psychosis. I suffered from that. Been able to come from that, out of that as well. And that was mainly through natural means, actually, through the fasting. I came out of that. And that's another main thing. Yes. Oh, this was another main thing. I'd lost my mobility had been affected due to my weight. So I was using a walking stick. I was unable to walk and take care of my children. I'm a full-time carer. So yeah, I'm able to walk today. So that was one of the major things that I was able to overcome. And as well, obviously I'm still a work in progress, but in terms of my mental health, I've struggled with suicide, depression, but I feel like I'm in a much, much better place. And I feel like the diet as well, changing my diet, my lifestyle has played a role in that. It's not been the main thing, but definitely has contributed to improvement in my mental health, definitely. So yeah, so that is it really, the main things. Yeah.
That's quite a journey there.
It is. It is.
That mobility, it's interesting because we used to host what we call our 40-day wellness class. And one of the things that we would talk about in order to make things click for those who are in the class, we would talk about mobility issues because, as you probably know, most of the people that we work with are dealing with obesity. And, they want to lose the weight, but they're struggling and they don't understand why they can't lose weight and, all these things. But what I found was for a lot of people, because they had children, they didn't all have children, but a lot of people had children or wanted children. And mobility is one of those things that we don't really think about because we can, when you can move and you can walk and you can get around, you kind of take it for granted, But I had several people on my show, and you may have even heard them talk about in their interviews, where when it clicked for them that they needed to change something, was they thought about they have a newborn child. And what if they, their child is in danger and they don't have the mobility to run up and save them or, get them out of harm's way. Or, I think one guy even mentioned he feared having a heart attack and being with his child and their mother not being around and them just being there uncared for or those sorts of things. So that I think that plays a huge role, or at least it can, for people, their motivation to want to make a change.
100%.
I'm curious to know, because you said you dealt with hyperthyroidism. How did the weight and the hyperthyroidism have anything to do with each other, or were you dealing with the weight before?
Not at this point. I didn't. I wasn't like overweight. Obviously, I wasn't in the last. I don't know. I'm 36, so in the last maybe 10 plus years, I don't go on scales or anything like that. But I know that I had a very poor diet. I was not eating well. But at that point, I didn't get the connection that, what I'm eating is affecting my my health, if that makes sense. But I feel a lot of it was due to the stress that triggered it on. Then from the stress, obviously, the stress eating, the emotional eating. And I think there was a link, because it's good to mention, when I was younger, I had my tonsils removed. I had tonsillitis when I was a young girl. And it's so funny that the issues in my throat again, I feel like there was a link there. And I feel like after years, from the time I was young, like let's say 3, 4, because my background, my parents are not, I can't even remember ever seeing a fruit, but anything like that in the last 20 so years when I was little. Like we didn't really have fruit, vegetables. It's usually fast food, starchy foods, oily. So I think after all those years, it finally caught up, and I feel like that stress was like the trigger to kind of like, okay, now it's like it just blew up, and yeah, I got the hypothyroidism. And even though I changed my diet, I still went back to the foods. I hadn't gone to the root cause yet. So yeah, it's very up and down. So I can't say it was the weight was related to my hypothyroidism, but definitely in terms of how I was eating, what I was consuming, putting in my body, and what I was putting in my mind too, led to that. Like, yeah, like I said, like the doctor said, I don't know why he brought that up, because that's very strange, especially in the UK, because they just talk about get your drugs, you'll be fine. But he actually was opening up that he's noticing the women that are getting diagnosed is usually after due to stress. Yeah. So yeah, so that's that.
That's a very interesting point. I actually wanted to bring that up because it's the same here in the United States. So,
Yeah.
they're taught pharmacology. That's what they're taught. That's who is funding our schools, the pharmaceutical companies. So the doctors push that because it's all they know, honestly. I mean, that's really what it boils down to. And I also find that because we've been taught this narrative that we are at the pinnacle of humanity, meaning that at this point in time, we're the most knowledgeable, we're the most technologically advanced, and all of this other nonsense. Because we've been taught that that's what it is right now, a lot of doctors think that if like we know more than what we actually know. That's essentially what it boils down to. So there's not much exploration in the medical field coming from the doctors. They get taught what they're taught.
Yeah.
We feel like we have a really good grip and understanding of the body and things. And it's odd, unfortunately, that doctors pay attention to things like that. It seems like they're more or less just concerned with getting to the next patient. They don't have a lot of time to spend with their patients. So that's a good point. And I think that might help somebody listening who might be dealing with hyperthyroidism, because that might be a key that, it's not well-known knowledge. A lot of times people will blame the organ for the problem, saying, oh, there's something wrong with your organ. And what I've actually learned is that when it comes to the thyroid, there's never anything actually wrong with your thyroid. It's always an outside stimulus that's causing it to function the way it functions, but it's always a result of something. So So you believe that the food was a major contributor, and then also, do you also agree with the doctor? Do you think that your mom passing was a big part of that?
100%. Because up until that point, my mom died when I was like in my 20s. I hadn't had any serious health issues, right? That I've been diagnosed with. So, and then obviously after I got on the program, when I was taking the medication I was on, but then the medication now, I was getting some side effects. And I was like, okay. And obviously they mentioned that you can't be taking the drugs forever. So their solution, that's why they're like, okay, we're going to have the surgery, cut your throat open. And like, what is to remove it, right? Because that's and honestly, till today, that's why I said that I feel like it was, maybe that it's kind of like divine of God that I just changed my mind. Like, no, and I just done some alternative medicine. So I went privately because I don't know if you know, we've got the NHS, which is funded by taxpayers, right? So all this treatment to cut my throat open, all the drugs, it's all paid for by the taxpayer. But for me to go, if I go outside of that, you have to pay with your own money. So I did. I found a natural herbalist. I changed my diet a bit, like I improved it a bit, but that was enough to like reverse my hypothyroidism. And by that point, after my stress levels, like with my mum's passing, was a little bit better. I was doing a little bit better emotionally. So, and yeah.
It's interesting that, and this, I've always found this to be the case here in America as well. Our tax, well, we don't have, we have to pay for healthcare, like, so the taxes don't cover it, even though they should. It should, but it doesn't. It's interesting though, because let's say that I'm paying, $400 a month for insurance. Then if I get any kind of ailment, the insurance company still has the ability to say, hey, we're only going to pay for your treatment if you go to traditional medical, right?
Yeah.
If I go to, let's say I get into a car accident and I need to go to a chiropractor, they may cover it and they might not. It's not guaranteed. Definitely if I wanted to get like acupuncture or go get a colonic or something like that. And oh my God, an herbalist? Oh no, they're not paying for that at all.
No way. No.
An herbalist? That's voodoo. That's like that's crazy. That's not medicine.
Yeah.
So it blows my mind that we have a system that you only have one option, even though I'm paying for it, because it's not free here. So I'm paying for it, and they still will not fund, even when it comes to like obesity, which, oh my God, Americans deal with at a higher rate than most countries. If your obesity isn't at a certain level, they will not fund it, or they'll only fund a part of it. Like, your obesity has to be tied to like heart disease or something else that could be, take your life before they'll really fund it like completely. It's so messed up. So anyway, you found a herbalist and they put you on a treatment plan. Now, were the herbs specifically for the thyroid? What did you get from the herbalist?
Yeah, it was like, I think they made it for me in like liquid form. I can't remember what was in it. It's just a lot of, I was just like, cutting my throat open. No, let's try something else. And so I would just it's just like a little, was it like a glass bottle thing? Like, and I'll take it. Have they instructed me? And see, my diet had improved a little, and I went back to the doctors. They'd done the test because they were horrified that I wasn't taking their medication, and I'm not picking up They were absolutely disgusted. They're like, okay, we need to do a test. You haven't been taking your thing, and they done the test, the results, everything was normal. So I didn't need to take your drugs. I've been off your drugs for months, but I didn't tell them. I didn't tell them. I just went, even though they thought I was picking up my prescription. No, I wasn't. I wasn't taking it. I was doing my own thing. Yeah, and that's the path I felt like I had to go. And yeah, and all the symptoms from the medication, like one of the symptoms I got when I was taking their drugs was my eyes was unable to shut properly. So my eyes would get really dry. So I'm like,
Mm,
okay. And the fact that they said with their own mouth that it's dangerous for me to be on this medication forever.
right.
It just shows that, okay, that's not the solution then. That kind of, oh, okay. I think in my mind, I was like, maybe deep down, like something's not adding up here. And then now you want to cut my throat open and remove my thyroid. You've already removed my tonsils, which is actually, I feel like can cause some problems in the body because the tonsils, every part of our body, every organ in our body is there for a purpose, to function
Mhm.
for a purpose. Why are you removing it?
Right.
Why? Instead of getting to the root cause, like you said, the external bit. So, and that is it. So, and yeah, I overcame. And since then, I've had no issues with my thyroid. One of the symptoms of thyroid is your hands will, that's how they find out. The doctor diagnosed me. She told me to put my hands out. So if you put it out and you have like shaky hands,
Mhm.
that's one of the signs. And that's how they diagnosed me. And they were right. Yeah, they done the test that I've got hypothyroidism. So that hasn't happened. I've had no issues with my eyes. I can shut my eyes properly now, so it doesn't dry out. So as soon as I stopped the medication, that stopped. So it's just like, oh, like no.
You
Um,
know, I was gonna say it's interesting that when you go to them for help, and look, I just want to make it very clear because I
yeah,
want to make sure people understand, like, I'm not bashing doctors. I just think that
yeah,
doctors
yeah,
are outside of their lane of expertise. Like, doctors are really good at trauma. You know, if you have trauma to the
yeah,
body, doctors are excellent for trauma.
yes,
But when it comes
100%.
to
I
healing,
agree.
right, when it comes to healing and wellness, that should be left for wellness practitioners. And so the
Yeah,
fact that we cross lanes is the problem. Um,
yeah,
but they're always so surprised that when you go your own way and you deal with the wellness practitioner, they're always so surprised that it worked. What was that like when you went in there, you told them you were
yeah,
taking the tincture, and now they do their test and the hypothyroidism is reversed? Because I'm sure they'll tell you you can't reverse it. What were their
yeah.
reaction to it?
Oh, she wasn't like, oh, that's amazing, and keep doing what you're doing. It's just like, oh yeah, it's normal, you're fine, get out the office, like appointment is over. Yeah, that was it really.
That not strange? Like,
I,
you
I was just happy, like they're not gonna bother me like anymore. I was done. So
Like, to me, that is so strange. Like, let's say that I went to school for 6 years, I became a medical practitioner, some type of doctor or whatever, and
yeah,
I was taught, right? Because we've been taught that we're at the pinnacle of science and we know everything. I was taught that you cannot reverse hypo or hyperthyroidism. And
mm,
a girl comes in, I run my tests, we guarantee, because you got the shaky hand and everything, okay, you
yeah,
have hyperthyroidism, right? So you
yeah,
need to be on this medication, and we have to cut your thyroid out because it's broken, and you can't fix it.
yeah,
And then she comes back with a fixed thyroid. I'm gonna be like, what did you do? So that
yeah.
now I can tell my patients to go and do that, right? Instead of having a surgery where they cut an organ out. But
No,
that never happens. That has to ring a bell for people. Like, the fact that
yeah,
never happens, and it's not just in your country, it's across the board with modern
yeah,
medical professionals. They don't care. Oh, you're just a one-off. Oh, the test. They always say, oh, the test must have been wrong. But you
yeah,
rely on these tests. You rely on the accuracy of these tests to tell me that I have cancer, that I have
yeah,
diabetes, right? That I have
yeah,
whatever. And it's accurate when you think I got this disease and you're going to give me a treatment, it's accurate. There's not a question. But then when I reverse it naturally and I come back, oh, the test was wrong. It's just, it's crazy to me.
Yeah.
So let's talk about what were you, because you said you changed your diet a little bit. So you did tincture, but what were some of the changes that you made? Because I'm assuming you were eating everything before, and then now you made some changes.
Obviously, I was still eating meat. I was still like, I'd have like, I was having a lot more like smoothies. A lot of the green smoothies. I think I was having that nearly every day. But I still didn't get the connection, right? Not yet, not fully. But it was enough to reverse everything, to reverse the hypothyroidism. So even though my diet wasn't perfect, by any means, maybe it was just I was eating less of the rubbish of the junk food and having more whole foods, right? And again, remember what I said. The doctor said that it's like a stress related, triggered by stress. So I think as my stress went down, I think that helped more. I feel a lot, greatly contributed to the healing as well, right? So
that the stress piece is so important, and it's overlooked. So once again, referring back to the 40-day wellness class that we used to do, one of the things I would talk about in that class is the importance of stress. So here we're taught stress is the silent killer. That's what they call it. And, stress is directly connected to a chemical called cortisol. Now, cortisol, people think is a bad thing. It's not bad. It's just when it comes to imbalance in the body, any chemical or any process that is imbalanced is going to be bad, right? But because it is the silent killer, and because it's not like obesity or cancer or something so prominent, it happens without you kind of really realizing it. People ignore it. But it's so important to take a look at your life, take a look at the people in your life, your job, your relationship with your family and your children, and really take account of how those relationships are impacting your health. We just go through life and we just do what we feel like we need to do. And so many of my friends tell me they overwork themselves. They'll end up in the ER because they've dehydrated themselves. They're just not taking care of themselves. And it's just like, I used to be the same way, until I started to learn that health and wellness was for me, it was my journey. I had to put myself first, because whether you have children or a husband or a wife or whatever, if you're unhealthy, you're not going to be there to provide what you think that you have to provide for them. You're gonna, you could even become a burden if you're not taking care of yourself. So let's talk a little bit about your weight journey. Where did you start with your weight journey? Like how big were you? Or what size were you?
So I've got it here. When I started, because I would say the first part of my journey was I wasn't focused on my weight. I was focused on my health. Right? That's how it started. So, but by when I started to now see that my weight was causing my mobility issues, and I was getting the connection between the symptoms I was having and what I was eating, and I put it together. That was May 2023, May last year. So that 176.3 pounds.
Wow.
So that was obese. I was considered obese because of my height.
How tall?
So I was obese. About, I don't know in centimeters. I was at 156 centimeters. I don't know what that is in.
156 centimeters. We're going to have to do a little quick
Yes.
math.
So, yeah.
Okay, so you're about 5'1", 5'2", 5'2".
Yes.
Gotcha. Yeah,
So that's when I started. May last year. That's when I really took my weight seriously, especially when I calculated my BMI. I saw that I was obese. But what even triggered me the most wasn't even the number. The fact that was, oh, I thought I was obese wasn't even enough. But when I saw that the the obesity related illnesses and diseases connected to it, that's why I was like, oh my gosh. And I saw cancer. I was at risk of cancer, type 2 diabetes. I just got, so it began out of fear. I'm like, oh my gosh, I've got to do something. I've got to not be obese anymore. I wanted to be in the normal weight range, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
So, yeah. So that's when I started it, and it started with a 30-day water fast.
Wow.
30 days. That's how I began my weight loss journey, from May to June, the end of June. 30 days, just
Wow.
water. No, I didn't have any teas. I just took, obviously it was very like rough. I wasn't perfect. I didn't have, right. I just felt like, no, this is what I'm gonna do. And I was using the smart water. There's a water particular brand,
Yeah.
and it has all the electrolytes, and they recommend that for if you're doing the fasting. So I just went for that. I also hired a coach, a specialist coach that does water fasting, because it was a bit risky. I didn't want to take the risk. 30 days, no water. I've never done it before.
Yeah.
So that really helped. So she gave me the guidance. She was monitoring me, making sure that, okay, weekly check-ins, making sure that I'm okay. And yeah, I made it through the last few days of my 30 days. Oh my gosh, it was rough. I was detoxing. I was bringing out a lot of phlegm out of my throat. I had bottles. It was just coming out, all the phlegm from my throat. Again, the throat connection again. It's interesting that that's where I was bringing out a lot of mucus, a lot. So over 30 days. And yeah.
That's very interesting. So, well, first of all, I find it interesting because I don't hear people say that one of the issues that I see here in America is people don't even want to say, oh, I'm obese. So here, because the culture is so different, when we deal with obesity, especially as a woman, if the fat is in the right place, they'll just call them thick. They'll say, oh, I'm thick, and it doesn't matter as long as my man likes me, and it's all of this stuff. It's like it doesn't matter about the health. It's like as long as my man likes it, and I look good, or whatever. And it's such a crazy deception, because it's like, no, it does matter. It matters more than you could ever know, because of those things that you're talking about, the obesity related diseases. Your risk of mortality goes up. Your risk of diabetes, high cholesterol.
I was even shocked that you're at risk of cancer. There's some certain types of cancer related to obesity. And then when I watched another woman, because she was unable to get control of her weight, and she was watching, she was doing like a video diary. And then when she got to a certain day that she's been diagnosed with cancer, I'm like, oh my gosh. And it was because of her obesity. And I saw my mother die of cancer. I saw the pain that she went through, and that just scared me. Like, I don't want that for myself. I don't want my family to witness that. That really like woke me up. And I know it seemed, some people might find it extreme. Like, why are you doing 30 days of no water? Obviously, I didn't have any underlying health issues at this point, and I was eating pretty healthy. I was eating pretty good, and I was transitioning to plant-based.
Mm-hmm.
at this point. So my diet was so much more better. So I felt like, I can handle 30 days of drinking. So it's not something I recommend to everybody. Yo, no, I think you should. Even now, I would have, I wouldn't push that on every lady, like do 30 days water fast. No. But yeah, I did that. And I have to be honest, it was driven by fear.
Right.
I wasn't driven by body image. Oh my gosh, my bum looks big, my stomach looks big. No. I actually didn't. If you see some of my videos and photos when I was overweight, I didn't know I was obese at this point. I was so confident, even though I was like, I had a big tummy, but I felt beautiful and confident in how I look. I like, what's the big deal? Like, I just wear certain clothes, like to cover it, to make it
Right.
look. And yeah, I felt good. So it wasn't a body image thing. It was more, it was fear.
Right.
Fear for myself, fear for my kids. That's it. Just driven by fear. Fear and conviction. Yeah. Fear and conviction, especially in terms spiritually as well. I felt like it was my duty to be healthy. My body is the temple. I shouldn't be treating it this way. So it was more driven by, at the beginning, it was driven by fear and conviction. Yeah. Than my body image. Oh, I want to fit into that dress. No.
Well, that's get it how you get it. Like
Yeah.
The end result, the outcome is the important part.
Exactly. Yeah.
People are driven by many different things. Some people
Yeah.
are driven by, their appearance. Some people are driven by fear. Some people are driven by the ability. They just want to be well. So
Yeah.
it's all good, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah.
I'm just sharing like what it was for me, what was my key motivation and my driving force that got me started. Yeah, and again, obviously I got the results, that I did, you know.
Hmm. Yeah, you got some
So
incredible results.
thank you.
So in the 30 days, how much weight did you end up
Yeah.
losing?
Oh, honestly, I can't remember, but it was I lost about 22 pounds in 30 days, roughly. Yeah, dropped a lot of weight.
Okay.
But I still looked ill.
Well,
I
fashion is
don't have
not a
any.
magic wand, you know?
Yeah, I didn't have any photos or anything because it was like, right, I still looked a bit, but I've lost the weight. I'm glad I lost some weight, but I still was at risk. I'd gone from obese to overweight. So
Right, right.
yeah, my BMI score had gone considerably down. So I was happy, but I still had that fear because I'm like, okay, my goal weight was 128.5 pounds for me to be out of the danger zone.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so I hadn't reached there yet. So I still wasn't like, oh, I wasn't satisfied yet because I'm like, but I'm still not healthy. People are like, oh, you're amazing. Like, Sarah, you've lost the weight. Wow. But I'm like, I'm still not healthy though. I'm still
Right.
overweight. I'm still at risk. No, I need to keep going. So, no.
Were your
That's
friends
it.
or family concerned with the fasting? Because it's kind of like people look at it as an extreme thing to do.
Yeah, I didn't tell much people. I didn't tell a lot of my family. Nah, I just kept it under wraps. I only told my sisters. They were aware, and I think that was it. And apart from the coach that I hired, and I joined a community just for like support,
Mhm.
just a free WhatsApp thing. So they were supporting me, and that was it, right?
Right.
And my sister supported me. I didn't really share with anybody, and I think that helped
Yeah.
actually. It really helped. So I didn't have any like, oh, you shouldn't be doing that. Like quite the opposite. I was having. Oh, I was also having colonics as well during my 30-day water fast.
Okay.
I was doing colonics. I'd done a few sessions, and she was saying that I looked amazing and like, wow. So I
I'm
guess
sure
it's
'cause she was watching you just shrink, shrink, shrink.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's how the journey started for me.
So obviously, well, what's your weight currently?
Oh, I haven't like checked in
Or well, what was it the
but
last time when you felt like, okay, I made it? Did you hit your goal of the 128 pounds?
yeah, I did. I reached it in October last year.
Okay. So
Yeah.
between because you did all of this in the
May.
same year.
Yeah, yeah. So from May, June, July, August, September, October. So in 5 months, I went from obese to a normal weight. Yeah.
That's very, very impressive. I mean, fear
Yeah.
is one heck of a motivator, huh? Like,
It is. It's just scared myself into getting healthy. Yeah. So in 5 months, but I know that I can't remember my last, but I'm definitely I think I'm under what am I? I think the last time I checked was I like 53 kilos. I don't know what that is in pounds. Um, yeah, but I'm definitely under still in my normal weight range.
right.
I've been able to maintain since October. Yeah, I've been able to maintain my weight. So that's the most important thing. I'm not really focused on a specific number.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's just my personality, because obviously I went to university and everything. I'm like, I have to have some measurement, like a tool, kind of like I know there's some other ladies, oh, I want to weigh this much and I want to be like that. But I'll be like, okay, for your BMI, I know it's not perfect, the BMI, I understand there's some, but it's a good guide to start off with. Like, I don't just use the BMI, I do look at how I'm feeling, how my
Right.
clothes fit. And I'm planning to get privately, I'm planning to get some blood tests and to check my microbiome levels. I'm planning to do that soon, so I can
Mm-hmm.
really get a full picture. Like, I just don't want to do things just like in the air. I don't know how to describe, like just going with the flow when it comes to my health. I can't do that. I need some sort of measurement and tools, so I know where I'm going. I know what I'm doing. I can set specific goals, like something to work towards. And it seems to be working for me so far. So yeah.
It's working. It's working. You look good, and
Thank you.
your journey has been incredible so far. One of the things I want to ask you is, at this
Yeah.
point, are you more driven by fear or are you more driven by a desire to be well?
No, I don't know. I think there's still some fear there, but it's a fear like I don't want to go back to being overweight.
The fear has changed. It's not the same type. It's like,
It's not the same type of fear. I think it's a kind of a positive fear. No, you don't say, oh, that you need to have the fear of God in you because it keeps you from trouble, right? So it's kind of like, yeah, it keeps you from trouble. So you gotta have a bit of fear of God in, yeah, like if you don't do this. So I'm just like, I don't want to go back to that place again. Like, I'm scared that I'm gonna overeat, or I'm gonna have a moment and just binge and go back to my ways. So that is still there,
okay.
but now it's more like I want to get to my healthiest, right? It is driven by like I want to be like more healthier. So now my focus is more like doing the detoxing. I don't know if this book, Marcus Rothkranz.
Okay.
So at the moment, I'm inspired by his protocol.
Okay.
As I'm transitioning to be high raw plant based. So I'm in detoxing now. Just focus more on optimum health, right? For my body, because this is like, 30 years plus of abusing my body with food. It's not gonna, no way it's gonna just be cleared in
Right.
in a month, because I'm still bringing out mucus till now, even though it's not as much as before. So that's the sign. My body like, there's still some clearing up to do. I look at my face. If there's some certain things, I'm like, no, that's just, I do my research. Like, no, there's still something there. There's still maybe some issue with my kidneys or with that needs to be addressed. I need to stay on this detox kind of state for some time before I start like eating fully 3 meals a day and all of that. So
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a very good obviously you're studying, and so you understand when it comes to
Yes.
detox, losing weight is not the end all be all. There are people who are in a healthy weight range and they need to detox. As a matter of fact,
Yes. Yeah.
people in a healthy range are more at risk because they don't have that weight to tell them as an indicator, hey, something's wrong.
Yeah.
Your fat actually is one of the great protection mechanisms our body has. It swells up and dilutes toxicity in your body. So when you don't gain weight, it usually the fat happens inside around the organs.
Yes.
Very
Yeah.
dangerous. But mucus is a great indicator because when you have mucus in your body in excess, you know something is wrong, period. Because mucus
Yeah.
is designed to suspend toxicity in your body as well. Obviously, it has other jobs, but when you have it in excess, that's like one of the main indicators. Like if someone has mucus all the time, another person might say, "Oh, are you sick?" Like we all know mucus is a great indicator. If your nose is stopped up or runny all the time, that is
Yes.
like associated with
Yeah.
being sick. So,
Yeah.
I actually noticed the exact same thing when I went on my journey. The first few months of fasting I was taking some herbs. Mucus was coming out my body like crazy, and then one day it stopped.
Yeah.
Like, and it was so interesting because the only reason I realized the mucus has stopped is because I had an ice cream bar, and then the mucus came back like instantly, and I was able to put two and two together. That's how I learned that ice cream or dairy was mucus forming. So you got your dairy, your cheese, and certain foods are highly mucus forming. So when you get your body to like a more clean state, your body will react instantly and it'll tell you, hey, that looks
Yes.
good, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
So what did you do between June and October? Because you lost, let's say 22 pounds. What did you do
Yeah.
between June and October to continue to lose the weight? Were you doing more fasting? I know you said you changed your diet, but how did you do that?
Oh, right. So, and this is the thing about, I have an understanding why people lose the weight quickly and then put it on.
Mm.
And that's why, like, I should have got more information and knowledge, because I didn't have a plan for after the 30 days. I was just like, oh, I need to get my BMI there. That's all I was obsessed with. I never thought, okay, what do I eat afterwards? So I went back to, oh, I've lost the weight, and I started to relax and went back to my meat, started eating, and my feet began to swell. It just swelled up. I started to get sick again. And I was struggling. My weight was going, even though I'd done this 30 days water fast, my weight was creeping up again. And I got scared, like, what is going on? I can't control this thing with food, the addiction, the cravings. I can't. And then I actually, when was it? I did manage to lose some weight. I got to, let's say from June to September, what did I get to? I got to 143 pounds. right? That's till October. I'm meant to get to that 143 pounds from 176. But I was still unhealthy though. I still was overweight, right? So I was going on TikTok and I saw this 3-month weight loss program and that they were starting. I'm like, oh, why not? 90 days. I could definitely, in 90 days, 100%, I'm going to reach my goal finally. And now I've got that accountability. I'm going to have this coach. Her story was similar to mine. She's been able to maintain her weight for like 2+ years. I'm like, oh, wow, she must know something I don't know, kind of the thing. And yes, I joined the program. I think there was a cash prize for the person that had the best whatever. But I'm like, I just want to get to a healthy weight kind of thing. I'm not interested in the just tell me what to do kind of thing. So I joined in the 3 months. I started September. And by less than a month, I reached my goal weight through the program, with the program. So that accountability, that coaching helped. But another key thing on the program is that I finally connected the dots with the weight loss. What I was missing and why I couldn't maintain it, because I thought it was just a little weight loss program. I paid for it, but it was more holistic. So she really delved deeper with my relationship with the food. And at that point, I wasn't doing any exercise. Nope. I wasn't doing any exercise. I just said stop eating and that's enough. So when I started incorporating exercise, and going for walks and dealing with doing the inner work, that is it, doing the inner work. I was more focused on the outer work and not finishing the inner work. I was shocked. Within less than a month, I reached my goal weight, what I was struggling to do in like months. Right. But she really helped me connect the dots and see the weight loss as more holistic with the mind, the spirit. But I was more just leaning towards like the physical side. Oh, just stop eating kind of thing and you'll be fine. But no. And that is when I understood why people, they lose the weight quickly, like I did. I lose it rapidly, and then you put it on again, and then sometimes. So that cycle
for yourself.
Yeah. And that is the key, is that you've not done the inner work properly. Right? You've done the outer work, but your inner work hasn't caught up yet. So you've put the weight on. And instead of really going, I had to really go deeper, and it was really, really uncomfortable. But, I'm glad that I did, because obviously I'm maintaining the weight now. And so I joined that 3-month program, and that's the same program now that I volunteer as a coach on.
Whoa.
The weight loss coach. Yeah. So,
wow.
So I think I actually won the whole overall transfer. So I got the cash prize, which I wasn't expecting.
You got the cash
prize? Yeah. I wasn't expecting that. I was like, look, thank you for your help. I ended up winning. My money was on another woman that she's gonna make it, not me. But I worked. I'm like, oh, that's nice. Got some cash at the end and ended up winning. And then they asked me if I would come and be a coach with them, because they were just amazed at my transformation in those 90 days.
I mean, I guess from your point of view, you probably are just like, oh, I'm just focused on me. But just from my point of view, listening to your story, what you've been able to accomplish in the time frame, I mean, even your slight yo-yo, you're really doing well. Like,
thank you so much.
Sure. Like when I look at, people's journey, and obviously everybody's got their own journey, you know what I mean? So it's not a race or anything, but I would love to be able to work with somebody and in 5-6 months, let them have their experience, but address the core issues and start getting into a place of maintenance. That would be incredible, but
Yeah.
people struggle a lot. I mean, years. I mean, you said you followed Stephen's journey. Stephen had ups and downs over the course of years.
Yeah,
Um,
I saw that he did. Yeah.
yeah. So, and you becoming a coach, I personally think is a hack, because if you've hit your goals and now you're focused on
Yeah.
helping other people hit and maintain their goals, but in turn you also there's accountability for yourself there.
Right, right. Yeah.
Yeah. I would love to know the lady who's running this program, maybe get her on the show.
Oh yeah, yeah. Her name's Gladys Kamal. Um, yeah, she's amazing. So she too, she struggled with her weight loss, and she just done this program. And I think it's a really good program for those that are transitioning, because I let her know that I'm transitioning, I'm doing the detox. So it's good if you're, because she's very open, like if you're vegan or plant-based. Um, but she's not for skipping meals. She's more focused on what's the inner work that we need to do.
Mhm.
That's like more of her focus. And yeah, and a lot of ladies, not just me, that have joined her program have been able to maintain their weight, just like she has. So yeah, it's just yeah, she's amazing, and we're like she's turned to a coach now. We're like sisters, like we talk every. We're like
Right.
best friends now. Yeah, like this is crazy.
That's
But
the beautiful thing
yeah,
about it.
yeah,
Yeah. Creating those relationships, because look, in life sometimes we don't have the support system that we need, so being able to go out and create that support system is very important, which is why
100%.
yeah, having those communities, you mentioned several times, getting in support groups and having communities and just having that accountability. Obviously that's something that we at AHA have done. We know
Yeah,
that that's very important. You got to have a community that you can connect to, because
yeah,
no one person is an island. You don't want to,
yeah,
put yourself in the middle of the ocean by yourself with no help.
yeah,
That's not how human beings work. So,
exactly.
um, wow, this
Yeah,
has
and
been incredible.
I wanted to like, because obviously I read the Bible, the scriptures, and there's
Mhm.
so many principles there that even relate to weight loss. For
Mm.
example, there's a proverb that he that is around the wise will be wise. So I'm like, I need to be around people that are focused on being healthy, that have a health, and then I just naturally I start thinking like they do. I
Mhm.
start making choices like that they would make. But I've noticed when I'm around people that are talking about eating junk food, I notice that I want to eat like that. So
Right.
I have to be very intentional about my environment, who I surround myself with, what I've got around me, because it can just be like, little triggers,
Hmm.
right? So that proverb alone, he that is around the wise will be wise also. So that that is really key. Get
Yeah.
with people that have the same mind and
Mhm.
purpose with you, and that's why I joined your Facebook group as well, because I'm like, no, I need to get into, just stay plugged into people that are like-minded, and it will
Mhm.
help to keep me on my path as well. So yeah.
Absolutely. That's actually one of my. So when I was doing in my early 20s, I was going through a self improvement phase, and I
Okay.
learned that you are the sum total of the 5 people you spend most of your time with, and
Mm-hmm.
I really took that to heart. So it's really tying into what you said. I was like,
Yeah.
if I'm a reflection of those I spend my time with, what do I want that reflection to look like? So I
Mm.
actively started working on changing the types of, and it was difficult because some of my best
Yeah.
friends, weren't those people. They weren't the people that I needed them to be in order to get the reflection that I wanted to see in myself. And so I had to change. But, you know, it was also a beautiful process because some of my friends were able to adapt and grow with me, you know? So that is so key. Like, I really hope people don't miss that, because we just spend time with our family and the people we've been around our whole life. And we all know that doing the same thing, expecting different results, is insanity, but we do it in every aspect of our lives. It's like, you hate your job, you're stressed out, you're not making enough money, but you keep going to that job every day. You're not going to change it. You know, you're in a relationship that you're not being fulfilled, and you don't feel this, that, and the other, but you're just there anyway. Like, you're not working on the relationship, you're not changing it. So if you want to be
true.
wise,
And
go ahead.
And just one thing that I learned, especially when I was on the 90-day program, is that the person that you have to become in order to lose the weight is more important than losing the weight. So it's not also about maintaining the weight, it's about maintaining your new identity. Right? Because that old identity, I couldn't be around the same people. I couldn't. I can't even go out. I won't even, if they invite me to lunch, I'm not gonna go, because I know what you'll be choosing on the menu. Right? It's just too, especially because I have an emotional connection with food. It's like being in a toxic relationship. So it's not healthy for me. I know my limits and what I can take. I know who I am. So I need to be aligned with my new identity now, not just to maintain that identity, not just the weight. So, yeah.
You got it. You got it. You're learning a lot.
I've learned a lot, this weight loss.
Yeah. I'm glad that you are helping other people. That was one of my visions for, you know, just starting a healthy alternative. I wanted to share this information with others, help them get results, and then those people go out and help somebody else. And so hearing that you basically went through that process is beautiful. I love the fact that other people have that same vision, because that's really how we heal, you know, by helping each other.
Yeah. 100%.
Do you have any social media or anything that you want to share? People can get in touch with you. You know, how can, you know, what do you want to share?
Also, I'm on TikTok. So just put Sarah Battelle at Sarah Battelle. I'm also on Facebook as well. So and if you have, like, you know, I'm just volunteering, not just in the program, but also outside the program. So any woman that reach out to me, like, I don't gatekeep. I don't take anything like financially. This is my way. Not that it's bad to take the money or whatever, but for me, this is just my way of just paying it forward, like giving back. So I don't gatekeep. So, oh, what did you do? This is exactly what I did, right? You don't need to buy a product to find out my 6 secret. No. Like, this is what I did and everything. So, and I love it because I think it's helped to kind of, I'm not thinking about food anymore, just getting outside of myself. So just volunteering and, you know, giving my time and answering people's questions, you know, they're helping me actually in return. So because now I have a purpose, now I'm not thinking like, oh, I've got to eat, you know, what's my next meal? I'm like, oh, who's the next person that can help? What can I put on TikTok? Some information, that, you know, creating some content, right? So, you know, that has like really helped. It's helped me, especially mentally, my mental health as well, because people don't also think of that. Like when I say, oh, getting healthy, they just, I think they usually think of the physical, but they don't think mental health as well. That is important to take care of. And it's not just we take care of that, not by the foods we consume. Obviously, yes, they're, you know, things like avocados, they're good for like brain food, they're good for the brain. But also the words we consume, the communication as well. It's like food, what we're taking in, what we're absorbing. Some of it is very toxic, you know. So there's some people that I have to unfollow that I used to, because it's making me unhealthy mentally, like to get rid of those things. So that's key.
That's a good point. So when we talk
Yeah,
about the people that we spend our time with, oftentimes people just think, oh, the friends that I hang out with in person. But no, if you spend, let's say there's a particular famous person that you
yeah,
constantly interact with on TikTok or YouTube or whatever, whether you're listening to their podcast or whatever, you're spending time with that person. And so their
yeah,
thoughts and opinions are going to reflect on you. So
yeah,
that's a very good
100%.
point. And, obviously, like my whole thing is to really draw people in with, hey, we can help you lose weight and we can help you look better. But the reality
Yeah,
is, as you've discovered, it's so much deeper than that, and it's really more about your holistic wellness. So that's going to incorporate your
yes,
spiritual
yes,
being, your mental health,
yes,
your
yeah,
energetic health, and things of that nature. So that's a
yeah,
very, very good point.
yeah, yeah.
Well, Sarah, this has been amazing. I always,
Yeah, I've enjoyed. I was so nervous. I've been like, oh my gosh, like, oh,
well, we couldn't
like
tell. We
I'm
couldn't
glad.
tell. Or maybe your nerves calmed down a little bit after a while, huh?
Yeah, it did. You made me feel really relaxed. I thought it's gonna be like really like, oh, I'm gonna like stumble with my words, and maybe because of my British accent, like wouldn't be able to. I don't know.
No, we love the accent. People,
Ah, thank you.
yeah, I think a lot of Americans love that British accent. I do, but I think a lot of Americans do. But um, people always tell me, oh, Chris, I was so nervous, or I was nervous coming on.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's funny because, like, obviously, from my point of view, I'm like, what are you nervous about? But no, you
Oh,
did great. So
amazing.
thank you for
Thank you so
sharing.
much.
Yeah. All
Thank
right,
you. It's a
y'all. If you guys
pleasure.
enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the thumbs up button. If you want to see more videos like this, subscribe. And as always, the application of knowledge is power. And we will see you all next time.